Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having an amazing day today. In today's video, we are taking a look at the recent breakdown and loss of not only the daily and weekly prior high, but the macro descending channel resistance. We're going to be discussing whether or not this breakdown is nothing more than a false breakdown, or if we are going to see this develop into an extended downtrend. We'll also be discussing what are the parameters in which Bitcoin can move down while still remaining in an overall uptrend, and of course going over the short-term and macro charts while we do so. Before we get into the video, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you'll be interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, and the relevant economic news. And if you were interested in taking your trading to the next level, you can join us in VIP, where we post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. You'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our news, help, daily video, and trade setup chat. Join over 650 members by clicking the pinned comment in the free channel and contacting me via my name, or you can click these links for more information about the VIP or our entire trading track record spanning back since February 2021. Check it out, guys. Join up and let's dive in. So taking a quick look at the broader price section of here, unfortunately we can see Bitcoin has actually failed to sustain above the range high on the daily chart. Now, if we take a look at what we talked about yesterday, which was we had two key points of confluence, which were not only the daily horizontal resistance, which was our prior daily highs, but of course that daily downtrend. Now if we move over to the weekly chart, we can see that daily high was in fact also a weekly high for the price action, marked out by this weekly high on the prior rejection. If we take a look at the structure of price action, we have been developing on the daily higher highs in the price action as well as higher lows in the price action, developing a very clear uptrend. If we take a look at the last 8 months of price action, in fact, the breakout of the $68,000 region right over here was the first change of character in the entirety of the last 8 months of macro price action, indicating a very strong probability that this was going to be a continuation. And again, we unfortunately did not see that, but that does not take away from what is a very strong developing trend for Bitcoin. And while we have this pattern of, higher lows developing and higher highs, the trend is very much still bullish. So we're going to be talking about in today's video, how low can Bitcoin go until that trend we are developing, to that strength that is present in the charts, dissipates and the bears take back control. And we're also going to be taking a look on the short term and discussing this recent correction in much more detail, talking about potential reversal points and even how much weight we should apply to this on the daily while that weekly candle has not yet closed below. So before we get into all of that, let's first jump over to the market data, 24-hour liquidation data. Let's go ahead and take a look. Pretty high, 37% up, 141 billion in volume, and liquidations at 162 million, 30% up, 125 million coming from longs, 37 million coming from shorts. Moving over to the DXY, the DXY has reached that change of character resistance. This is where we are expecting a reaction. We are looking for a rejection from here back down to our 100. If we break through here, we will see a continuation to the range high, and this will be bearish. Considering where Bitcoin is right now, we do not want to see the DXY continue to climb upwards. We would want to see a rejection from our prior change of character, our prior resistance point, to see a swing back to these 100 yearly lows. Moving over to the S&P 500, a red candle printing at our weekly open. Price dropping down to 5,890 currently. Again, the DXY clambering upwards. We do not want to see that breakthrough of resistance. Otherwise, we could see a weekly correction start to develop on the S&P 500 as well. Again, with Bitcoin where it is, that could spell disaster for the current chart. So overall, we are looking good on the higher time frame. The short terms are beginning to look a little sketchy again, unfortunately. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into the broader analysis. Like we said, we're talking about everything we just spoke about at the start. We are going over Bitcoin dominance. We are going over the total market cap projection on altcoins. We are also going over the short-term price action, discussing bouncing points, reversal points, and key levels that need to hold to prevent continuations lower. So before we get into that, guys, if you want to support the channel and support yourself, sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, or BingX with the links down below. You'll get a hefty 15% lifetime trading fee discount by using those links if you do sign up down below. And of course, you'll support me and support the channel. Sign up, we'll play an ad, and let's jump back into it. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global, non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs, and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get stuck back in. So first and foremost, I want to start on the short-term charts, and the reason being is because, as we know, what happens on the short term eventually translates to the higher time frames, and a short-term time frame is a great place to start looking at if you want to find out where the price action is likely to potentially move to. So let's take a look at our short term. The key levels on the short term are really clear. We have got our strong low sitting at 66,647. I thought it was going to be 6666 for a second there, but it's 66,647. This is going to be our strong low. We can also see upon the loss of that strong low, we do enter a little bit of a VRPV gap down to around 66,200. So let's go ahead and mark out this strong low with our ray over here, just to identify it as a critical area of support. As we can see in the short term, we are entering a bit of a liquidity zone. We do have some longer wicks over here as represented by our blue box. We also do have the POC on the short term represented by our horizontal ray over here on the POC, on the VRPV, sorry. So we are entering an area of support. This is by absolutely no doubt an area of support for Bitcoin as we do enter this region. We are sitting between a rock and a hard place. Of course, if we do have a breakdown of this support level, it opens up the floodgates for a potential move much lower, even down to 63 to 64,000. This prior change of character, this prior horizontal resistance range. If we do zoom out, we had that major horizontal consolidation over here. We broke through our resistance. We saw that continuation upwards. If we break below that strong low, it does open up the possibility for an extended correction, even back down to 63 to 64,000. That would be our worst case scenario. So we definitely want to see the current support we are discussing hold. And if it does not hold and we start seeing candles print below here, we start to see lower highs develop under here, that could develop in an extended continuation lower for Bitcoin. Now, with all strong lows, we could potentially see liquidity grabs. So if we do drop below here, we are watching for that next candle. We are watching for the candle after to see a rejection from, to expect continuations, or to see that level reclaimed to then expect sweeps back toward the upside. For the price action to flip bullish again on the short term, the one critical level we need to reclaim is going to be this prior level of support, now an area that has been flipped into resistance. So we can see the price came up and retested this region yet again as an area of resistance over the last few hours. We absolutely need to break through this region. This is going to be our resistance. If we break that resistance, we then expect continuations back into that 70,000 region. So that is why I said between a rock and a hard place. We've got that major resistance directly above us and this major support directly below us. And both of these levels, the support and this resistance, have profound short-term implications on the price action, and based on where Bitcoin is sitting, has macro implications on where the price action is likely to move to next. Now let's go ahead and discuss what those implications could be based on those potential scenarios we just described. Let's first talk about the breakdown scenario. Let's talk about the worst case scenario, get it out of the way because we need to identify it and discuss it. The worst case scenario, like we said already, is that Bitcoin fails to sustain the strong low and we eventually see a breakdown for Bitcoin. Even if we see a breakdown for Bitcoin, provided we do not drop below our prior area of support, which is at that 60,000 to 58,000, we are very likely not going to see a loss of our RSI uptrend. Now, as we know, the RSI uptrend is going to be a representation of momentum since that 49K low, indicating that as the price action has been moving upwards, we have been gaining momentum. If at any point the RSI were to break below this trend line, it would signify that the strength that has been developing during this move upwards over the past 2 months has officially turned negative, which increases the probability of these prior higher lows to be lost and for the price action to create a new pattern of lower lows. This is going to indicate potential moves back to the range lows. We do not want to see that occur, and it is unlikely that even if we see that drop down into that 64,000 region, that even if we go a little bit lower, it is unlikely the RSI is going to break that trend line. But this is the main point. Until that RSI trend line is lost, and until this structure of higher lows is lost, the price action is still likely to continue toward the upside eventually and move into those upper targets of 72,000 and even potentially higher. The big issue is on the short term, we have seen this breakdown. The short-term price action was unable to sustain above that downtrend, as well as unable to sustain above this daily high range, which of course is also going to be a weekly high range. So what are we watching out for now? We are watching out for this weekly candle close. We have seen weekly candle closes drop, push back upwards. They go crazy. It's 6 days until the weekly candle close. The weekly candle close is going to be very important because if we are able to close this weekly candle yet again above 68,200, that would mark a continuation. A weekly close above 68,200 would be a continuation candle for Bitcoin, resulting in that move toward the upside yet again. Until then, we are in a dangerous territory under over here. We do have the risk for continuations, and of course, we'll be utilizing that short-term chart to actually pinpoint where those moves are going to come from and how deep those moves are likely to go. And that is really it for Bitcoin, guys. There's not really too much more to discuss. Of course, if we look at the macro charts, the macro technical levels are very much the same. This short-term move has had little implications on the macro trajectory of price action. It is very, very comical, I must say, when we see price action move up a significant amount and then move down a very insignificant amount, and people start to flip massively bearish again. It is important to contextualize what is happening with the high time frame charts, review the technical levels, and then make your assessment. These small moves, although have had structural impact, they have not impacted the overall trend itself, which has been developing over the period of time. Now, the structural implications of the correction could spill over to a technical impact. It could spill over to corrections that result in the strength shifting negative. That is something that is possible, but the actual structural breakdown has not done that yet. So this is a warning sign for Bitcoin. It is nothing more than a major warning sign. We have to take this at face value. You have to pay attention to this, but we should not be looking at this breakdown yet and being saying it's all over and Bitcoin's going to 40,000, Bitcoin's going to 52,000, because that is not what the charts are currently suggesting. The charts are currently suggesting that we have seen deviation above the high. We failed to sustain the daily high. We have broken back below. We've got some short-term supports. If we see a drop much lower, it opens up the possibility possibility for a steeper correction. And if that steeper correction occurs to the point at which the daily RSI breaks down and the momentum developing during the point of which it's August, early August onward flips negative, then we are bearish. Until then, we are looking at possibilities for reversals to develop from our prior areas of support. Now, the best case scenario for Bitcoin over here, like we said, is going to rest on this weekly candle close. The best case scenario is going to be coming to this weekly close. Is this weekly close going to be able to close above 68,200? If it does, that is absolute best case scenario. If it doesn't, Bitcoin is still now, unfortunately, at risk of extended continuations toward the downside. We're looking at that 64,000 region, 63,000 region as potential targets, and that is something we do have to be very much aware of. Moving over to Bitcoin dominance, of course, not really much happening with Bitcoin dominance. Let's move back to a weekly chart over here. We did see a little bit of an altcoin rally over the last 24 hours, again, with altcoins more or less pushing up due to the fact that Bitcoin dominance is slightly pulling back. Over the last 12 hours, we have seen most altcoins actually come back down a little bit. Again, totally normal as the total market cap has corrected and total 3 has dropped too. Looking at the total market cap, for the most part, the total market cap is still looking pretty decent above its range high, retesting the POC level, which is a good indication that overall, the cryptocurrency market as a whole is still in this overall uptrend. Looking at the total 3, we did not sustain the breakout of the total 3 over here, which of course is not a great thing. We actually got rejected on the daily. We are watching for a breakout of this level for altcoins to start gaining a lot of strength. So I'd only be really interested in altcoins going much higher when this total 3 level breaks. Until then, we are still under an area of resistance. We do have this major support at 600 billion. So a little bit more of a correction for altcoins looming if that level breaks down. With that being said, guys, I'll wrap it up and I'll catch you guys in the video on Thursday. See you then.